Mr. Speaker, I yield such time as he may consume to the sponsor of this legislation, my colleague from California, Mr. Farr.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Congressman Davis, for yielding. I rise in support of, obviously, the legislation I've authored, but I really appreciate the statements that are made here about General Gourley. He was a very special human being, just a tall statured, an incredible soldier, a retiree who kind of brought together the retiree community of the military in the entire Monterey Peninsula. We still have 9 military missions, including the Naval Postgraduate School, the Defense Language Institute, where all the languages of the world are taught, the Manpower Development Center, Fort Ord, Leggett, Camp Roberts, and so on. So we have a lot of military there, and he recognized that not only do the active duty soldiers, men and women in uniform who have a clinic at the Defense Language Institute, but really their spouses and children who have to live off the TRICARE. A lot of the doctors in the community wouldn't accept TRICARE because the reimbursement rates are so low. So here were underserved populations. There was a widow population of military retirees who, after the base closed and the hospital closed, where there was space available, that weren't really familiar with how to use TRICARE or find TRICARE doctors. There was the active duty military, and then there was this incredible veterans community. So for the first time in the history of this country, we got the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Department of Defense together and decided that they ought to plan a clinic. And General Gourley was so instrumental in getting that sort of one-stop, proud to serve opportunity to be in a design of a building and an operation of a building. And it was no small task, because although these agencies want to be joint, and I always remind people that you can't be a veteran without having walked through the Department of Defense first. So everything in the old days, you had to, when you left the Department of Defense, then you had to find your way, find your papers, and get them all transferred and do all this heavy lifting. And there was always bureaucracy and loss of papers and loss of stuff. And so this one-stop system, which we all think is much more cost-effective and a proud way to say thank you to those that serve, is really going to be implemented in this brand new clinic that we just broke ground for on Veterans Day a week ago. And so from my seat on the Military Constructions Appropriations Committee, I've learned that, we really need to find this unity. And so when we have found it, and it was always advocated by General Gourley, unfortunately he passed away. A couple of years ago, but just before he passed away, I was able to do an oral interview with him to archive in the Library of Congress, because Congress has developed this oral history archive, and I would urge all my colleagues in Congress to take part in doing these interviews with veterans and to archive their experience, because he served in many, many places in this country. He was always a leader and outspoken. He was critical of things that need to be criticized, but he did things like when he was head of the War College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, he insisted that soldiers couldn't come to class unless they brought their wives. He was those spouses who would come to understand that the Army mindset and the form of greater bond within the family around is a shared duty and shared sacrifice. So in that sense of unity, he always used to say, leave a better Army. Leave it better than you found it. And I think he left this world a lot better than he found it. And so one way the community would like to pay tribute to him for his incredible using his retirement to continue to bring this collaboration and thinking outside the box together is to name this new clinic after him. And he would be so proud. I was at his burial at Arlington National Cemetery in 2008. And in honor of his lifetime of service to our country, to our troops, to our veterans, I'm really proud to have introduced this bill to name the clinic after this American hero. I'm proud to have been his friend, and I ask your support in passing the bill. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentlewoman from California is recognized.